Beloved chosen one, listen carefully. All of heaven paused for a moment that will never be forgotten the instant your heart turned fully toward obedience. The angels stopped mid-flight. The music of eternity held its breath, and even the stars seemed to still their shining. You didn't hear it, but heaven did. The sound of your surrender shook eternity. For so long, heaven waited for this very moment, the moment when your will and His will finally became one. You've wandered through storms that tried to make you question your worth, through nights so silent that even your prayers felt unanswered. But every tear you cried was seen. Every step you took in faith, even when trembling, was counted. Heaven was not silent, it was watching. You see, beloved, obedience is not a chain, it's a key. You thought surrender meant losing control, but heaven knew it meant finding purpose. When you let go, heaven took hold. When you said, Lord, have your way, you didn't lose anything, you gained everything that was meant for you from the beginning. The Spirit whispered your name through the corridors of eternity. Angels began to prepare the sound of rejoicing because they knew this was the hour you would stop running, stop doubting, stop hesitating. You stepped into alignment. The Father smiled, not because of perfection, but because of willingness. You finally chose trust over fear, faith over control, and destiny over delay. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 10, Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. And when you finally chose His will, heaven's will was made manifest through you. The same alignment that moves galaxies began to move your life. Suddenly, what was blocked began to open. What was silent began to sing. What was delayed began to accelerate, because obedience does not go unnoticed. It is heaven's favorite sound. You are not like the rest. You have been refined by resistance, purified by pain, and chosen through the fire. Every no that broke your heart was actually a divine redirection. Every delay that made you doubt was a setup for divine timing. Nothing was wasted. Heaven was preparing you for this exact moment. Beloved, listen, this message didn't find you by coincidence. This is divine intervention. You are standing in the intersection between what was and what will be. And right now, the call is simple: keep walking in His will. Don't look back. Don't second guess. Heaven has already erupted in joy. All that remains is for you to stay the course. Your obedience is not small. It is shifting realms. When you walk in His will, your footsteps echo with purpose. Darkness trembles. Angels rejoice. And the earth itself responds to the sound of alignment. This is not ordinary. You are not ordinary. Now, chosen one. If you can feel the truth of this in your spirit, if something inside you is stirring, take a bold step of agreement. Heaven witnesses when faith moves through action. So right now, pause, breathe, and type this number in the comments below: 777. It is the prophetic number of completion and divine alignment. Then, like this message, share it so others can awaken, and subscribe so you never miss a divine word spoken into your timeline again. You didn't stumble here, you were sent here. And today, heaven celebrates not just your obedience, but your beginning. The long wait of angels is over. For years, they watched from the edge of eternity, silent guardians assigned to your destiny. They saw you stumble. They saw you rise. They saw you weep in the secret places where no one else could hear. And yet, they never abandoned their post. They carried your prayers like fire through the corridors of heaven, holding them close to the throne until the appointed time. That time, chosen one, is now. They remember the nights when you almost gave up, when your faith felt too fragile to hold, when every word you spoke into the air seemed to fall back in silence. They remember how darkness surrounded you, whispering lies that you were forgotten, that heaven had turned its face away. But still, the angels remained, because they knew something you did not yet know. The delay was never denial. It was preparation. Each tear you cried became a seed in heaven's soil. Each act of endurance, a testimony written in light. The angels saw how pain shaped your heart into something pure, something heaven could trust. They were waiting not for you to be perfect, but for you to be ready. For your will to align with His. For the war inside your soul to end. There were moments when they drew their swords on your behalf, unseen battles fought in dimensions your eyes could not perceive. You thought you were fighting alone, but you were never alone. Every night of exhaustion, every whispered prayer of "Lord, help me," sent ripples through the unseen. The armies of heaven moved at your cry. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 29, verse 11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Those words were not empty comfort. They were heaven's decree over your existence. The angels clung to that promise as they protected you through every detour. You see, your destiny was written before the foundation of the world. The enemy could delay it, distract it, even distort it, but he could not destroy it. Because what God ordains, no darkness can erase. There were times you misunderstood the silence of heaven, thinking it was absence. But silence is not absence, it is strategy. Heaven was orchestrating alignment. Your broken pieces were being rearranged into divine design. The angels watched patiently because they knew the longer the wait, the greater the glory that would follow. Now, they sing again. The same hosts that shouted for joy at creation are rejoicing once more because one soul you has come into full agreement with heaven's will. You are walking in step with the divine rhythm written for your life. Every movement you make now carries prophetic weight. Every decision resonates through eternity. Beloved, when you walk in His will, you do not move alone. You walk accompanied by those who have waited for this moment. Every step forward is escorted by grace, guarded by angels, and guided by the Spirit. You are surrounded, supported, and sustained by heaven's favor. Do not think lightly of what has begun. The alignment of one obedient heart can shift nations, heal families, and awaken generations. You are living proof that God's timing is perfect, that delay does not mean disfavor, and that what is ordained cannot be overturned. The angels waited and now they rejoice. The war for your surrender was not fought in the open. It was invisible, fierce, and relentless. The enemy didn't need to chain your hands, he only needed to convince your heart that obedience was too costly. For years, he tried. He whispered through disappointment, through betrayal, through unanswered prayers. He told you that surrender meant losing control, that submission meant weakness. But deep inside, you knew the true prison was resistance. Every temptation that came your way was never about pleasure or pain. It was about position. The enemy wanted your yes to belong to him. But heaven fought for your surrender, not because God wanted power over you, but because He wanted life to flow through you. You were born for divine purpose, and surrender was the key that unlocked it. You didn't see it, but angels and demons warred over your choices. The moment you decided to trust, even with trembling hands, light broke through the fog. Your obedience was the signal that heaven had been waiting for. The sound of your yes sent shockwaves through the kingdom of darkness. Chains snapped, strongholds fell. The enemy lost authority where you chose to yield. As was spoken in the sacred texts of old, In the book of James, chapter 4, verse 7, "Submit yourselves then to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you." Do you understand what that means? Chosen one. Your surrender terrifies hell. It dismantles his strategies because obedience is power disguised as humility. When you bow to heaven, you rise in authority. Every time you said, "Not my will, but yours," you struck a blow to the enemy's plan. That small act of submission, unseen, quiet, private, echoed louder than any shout of victory. The war for your surrender was never about losing freedom. It was about reclaiming it. The enemy promised control but gave bondage. God asked for surrender and gave liberty. You have now tasted what it means to live under divine order, not under oppression, but under grace that empowers, heals, and strengthens. There were nights you fought yourself, torn between what felt safe and what was sacred. But the moment you yielded, peace came rushing in like a flood. Heaven didn't need perfection. Heaven needed permission. And when you gave it, heaven moved. Your surrender didn't just change your life, it shifted spiritual climates. The atmosphere around you began to respond. You may not see it yet, but doors are opening, hearts are softening, and alignments are forming because you finally yielded. The same light that broke your chains will break chains through you. Chosen one, pause and let this truth settle deep within. The greatest battles are not fought with swords, but with surrender. You have overcome the hardest part, the rebellion within. The rest will fall into place as you continue to say yes daily. Now, as a prophetic act of agreement, I want you to declare this in the comments below. I choose surrender. Say it not as a ritual, but as revelation. Let heaven see your digital confession, a written echo of your heart's obedience. Each time you write those words, you reaffirm what darkness fears most, that you belong wholly to God, and your will is no longer divided. When you finally said yes, the universe shifted. You didn't hear the sound, but all of heaven did. It wasn't loud like thunder, but powerful enough to move eternity. That single word, spoken from a surrendered heart, echoed through realms unseen. Your yes became a melody that heaven had been waiting to hear, the song of obedience. Pure and unbroken. It wasn't the kind of yes that came from convenience or comfort. It was born from pain, from wrestling, from nights of questioning and days of silence. It was the yes that costs something, the kind that tests your heart and refines your motives. You stood at the edge of fear, uncertainty swirling around you, and still, you chose faith. You chose God's plan over your understanding, His will over your timing, His path over your logic. That moment changed everything. Heaven records it, not as a small act, but as a declaration of allegiance. Your yes was heaven's victory cry. The Father turned to the angels and said, "Watch what I will do now." Because when a child of God surrenders, heaven moves into acceleration. What years of striving could not produce, a single act of obedience unlocks. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 37, verse 5. Commit your way to the Lord, trust in Him, and He will act. Those words are not just poetry, they are a promise. When you commit your way, heaven commits its power. The same God who formed the stars takes responsibility for the path of the one who trusts Him. You are now walking in that divine rhythm, the rhythm of trust and manifestation. When you said yes, you didn't just agree with His plan, you aligned with His heart. Heaven's perspective became yours. You began to see that surrender is not loss, it is transformation. Every yes to God releases new revelation, new strength, new purpose. The more you obey, the clearer His voice becomes. There is a deep beauty in surrender. the kind that the world can't understand because the world equates surrender with defeat, but heaven calls it victory. You are not giving up. You are giving into love, to wisdom, to divine destiny. You are stepping out of confusion into clarity, out of striving into rest. And oh, how heaven responded. The angels sang not because of a crown you earned, but because of the heart you offered. The Father smiled, not at your achievements, but at your surrender. Because in that surrender, you return to the design you were created for communion. Now, peace has become your portion. That inner war that once drained you has gone quiet. You no longer fight for control because you trust the one who holds everything. And in that trust, you've discovered the greatest secret: obedience brings freedom. Beloved, there will be days when you'll feel the temptation to take back what you surrendered to question, to doubt, to grab hold again. But remember what happened when you said yes. Remember the shift in the atmosphere, the weight that lifted, the clarity that came. Let those memories anchor you when fear whispers again. You have stepped into a new dimension of divine partnership. Heaven doesn't need you to be flawless. It needs you to stay faithful. Your yes has already begun to ripple through your destiny, unseen now, but soon undeniable. Every choice from here is another stroke of obedience, painting the masterpiece God has always envisioned for your life. Your yes changed more than your future. It changed the sound of heaven itself. The sound that reached the throne was unlike anything heard before. It wasn't a song sung by angels, nor the echo of creation's beginning. It was your obedience. When you aligned your heart with His will, your spirit produced a frequency that only heaven could interpret. The Father rose, His eyes gleaming with joy, and all of heaven knew the promise had taken root in you. Heaven doesn't celebrate performance, it celebrates alignment. The moment your will became His will, the sound of that agreement traveled through eternity. It was a vibration of trust, a melody of surrender. And as it reached the throne, it was answered not with words, but with favor. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 16, verse 3. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and He will establish your plans. Heaven heard your commitment, and in response, God began to establish things unseen: connections, provisions, opportunities, peace. You didn't have to force them. Your obedience became the magnet that drew them near. What once felt out of reach is now within grasp, because divine order attracts divine supply. Beloved chosen one, when heaven rejoices, blessings overflow. Your obedience has unlocked rivers of favor, and those rivers are beginning to flow not just toward you, but through you. You are now a vessel of blessing, a carrier of light meant to touch others in ways you may never fully see. There is something beautiful about generosity born out of gratitude. It is not payment, not obligation. It is partnership. When your heart is moved by what heaven is doing, you naturally want to be part of it. Think of it like tending a flame in the night, a small, trembling light that grows brighter every time another soul shields it from the wind. That's what your support does. Every like, every share, every subscribe, and every donate is another hand cupping that flame, helping it glow a little stronger, reach a little farther. It isn't a command. It's a whisper, an invitation to be part of the fire that keeps hope alive. If this message has stirred something inside you, if it has reminded you of who you are, of what heaven sees in you, then let your gratitude take form. Like this message so it continues to shine on someone's darkest feed. Share it, and let your act of faith ripple outward like circles on still water. Subscribe, not just to stay connected, but to keep walking this path of light with a family that believes as you do. And if your heart feels moved to donate, let it be like planting a seed in good soil, small, quiet, but destined to grow into a tree whose shade will comfort another weary traveler. Give because your heart wants to, not because you must. For every seed of love planted freely is multiplied by heaven abundantly. Your obedience made heaven sing, and your generosity helps that song continue to echo across the earth. Together, we are amplifying heaven's joy not with force, but with freedom. Because heaven still hears that sound, the sound of obedience, the sound of love, the sound of your willing heart. Your giving becomes light carried by unseen hands stretching beyond borders, touching hearts you may never meet. Yet heaven records every act done in quiet love. So walk forward, radiant one. Every click, share, word, and gift you release becomes a spark in eternity, proof that obedience still carries divine fire. The records of heaven have shifted, beloved chosen one. When you decided to walk in His will, something eternal changed. What was once written as unfinished has now been marked fulfilled. The pages that once carried the weight of hesitation now shine with golden script, the ink of obedience, the seal of divine alignment. In the archives of eternity, your name glows differently now. It carries the fragrance of surrender, the sound of trust, the rhythm of faith. Every act of obedience became a sentence in your heavenly record. Every tear, every yes, every quiet moment of choosing God over yourself, it was recorded by angels who never stopped believing in your destiny. Heaven remembers every turning point, the time you forgave when you could have fought back, the moment you prayed when it hurt to hope, the times you chose peace instead of proving your point. None of it was wasted. The author of time Himself took your ashes and rewrote beauty in their place, as was proclaimed in the book of Isaiah, chapter 61, verse 7. Instead of your shame, you shall have double honor, and instead of confusion, they shall rejoice in their portion. Therefore, in their land they shall possess the double. Everlasting joy shall be theirs. Do you hear that double? Not as reward for perfection, but as restoration for surrender. The Father delights to restore more than what was lost, to give back joy for mourning, honor for pain, and peace for every season you thought had passed you by. Beloved, heaven has been editing your story. Lines that once spoke of failure have been rewritten with purpose. Heaven has deleted the almosts and the not yets and replaced them with it is done. Because once you said yes, God began closing old chapters you didn't have the courage to end. You may not realize it, but your life is now an open letter, not written with ink but with spirit. Those around you will start to notice the difference, the peace in your eyes, the steadiness in your voice, the strength that comes from knowing you are exactly where you are meant to be. Your story is no longer about what was taken from you, but about what heaven is building through you. Every delay was divine editing. Every rejection was redirection. You were being refined for the page that comes next, the one where heaven begins to read your name aloud with pride. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. The author has simply turned the page, and this new chapter carries a brightness that outshines the old. The angels rejoice not because your record is clean, but because it is complete. Grace finished what effort never could. So now, as heaven continues to write your legacy, let this truth anchor your heart: no part of your pain will go unredeemed. Every chapter, even the broken ones, becomes part of the testimony that others will one day read and find healing in. And if your spirit feels this shift, if you know deep inside that heaven has truly rewritten your name in light, then make a simple declaration below as a sign of agreement. Type the number 808 in the comments. It is the number of new beginnings, of resurrection, of divine rewriting. Do it not as a ritual, but as an act of faith. Let heaven see your agreement recorded again, not on paper, but in eternity's light. Angels on assignment, that is what you walk with now. When heaven rejoiced at your obedience, it did not merely celebrate, it mobilized. Commands were released across the heavenly realms, and legions were sent forth carrying scrolls sealed with divine instruction. They were dispatched with precision, each one carrying a fragment of your destiny, each one assigned to make straight the way before you. You have never been alone. Chosen one. Even when you felt forsaken, the air around you shimmered with unseen movement. Angels were working silently, rearranging the impossible, intercepting attacks you never saw, and guiding your steps when your strength faltered. They are not just protectors, they are builders, messengers, and midwives of purpose. From the moment your heart yielded to the will of God, your spiritual coordinates changed. Heaven began to recognize you not as a wanderer, but as a vessel. And wherever there is a vessel, heaven sends supply. You became a living altar, a meeting point between heaven and earth. Every breath you take now carries the scent of divine cooperation. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 8. The Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. This is the essence of angelic assignment, not only that you are protected, but that divine presence moves ahead of you. The road is being cleared before you arrive. What once blocked your way now crumbles under the weight of his command. What used to intimidate you now bows to the authority you carry. When you walk into rooms, you carry more than your voice, you carry the echo of heaven's decree. Angels surround you like a living halo of light. Some walk before you to open doors. Some walk beside you to strengthen your resolve. Others walk behind you to guard your back from unseen darts, and all of them, without exception, move in obedience to the one who sent them. Sometimes you may feel their presence in subtle ways, a peace that falls suddenly, a heaviness that lifts without explanation, a whisper that says, "Go this way." These are not coincidences, they are confirmations. You are guided by a kingdom that never sleeps. Remember this: angels do not follow ambition, they follow alignment. The moment your will aligned with the Father's, heaven's resources became your inheritance. You don't chase favor anymore, favor now follows you. And as long as you walk in obedience, you are under divine escort. The world may call it luck when doors open or enemies fall silent. But those who know the language of heaven recognize the choreography, the invisible movements of grace at work. The hand that parted seas still moves mountains today. Only now it does so through your obedience and heaven's command. You are walking in divine momentum. Every step is orchestrated. Every delay is calculated. Every victory is already written. The angels who once waited for your surrender now race ahead of you, preparing rooms, connections, and encounters that will confirm the words spoken over your life. There is a quiet confidence that comes with this awareness, not arrogance, but holy assurance. The knowledge that no power of darkness can overtake what heaven has already ordained. You are surrounded, guarded, and carried by unseen hands. The same hands that protected prophets, strengthened kings, and guided shepherds now uphold you. And as you walk forward, remember you do not need to see the wings to know they are there. You simply need to keep walking, knowing that every invisible movement around you is heaven's affirmation that you are right where you belong, in the center of divine assignment. The test before the triumph, that is the path of every chosen one. Before the crown, there is always the cross. Before the elevation, the examination. You have walked through that season, the one where everything sacred seemed silent and every promise felt suspended. It wasn't punishment, It was proof, the divine testing ground where heaven measures not your perfection but your perseverance. When the fire came, you thought it would consume you. Instead, it refined you. Every trial stripped away what could not endure glory. The storm wasn't sent to destroy your faith, but to reveal what could not be shaken. You learned to trust without visible answers, to worship without evidence, to love without return. And that, beloved, is the mark of a true warrior of light. The Word of God declares in the book of Job, chapter 23, verse 10, "But he knows the way that I take. When he has tested me, I shall come forth as gold." Gold is not born pure. It is purified through heat, through pressure, through the relentless fire that exposes impurities and refines value. You, too, were placed in that furnace not because you were rejected, but because you were chosen for something greater. The fire did not burn you, it branded you. You carry the mark of one who endured and emerged radiant. Every test was a question from heaven. Will you still believe when blessings seem far? Will you still obey when comfort disappears? Will you still trust when everything is taken from you? And through trembling hands and tear-stained prayers, you answered each one with your persistence. Your endurance became your offering. Your faith became your victory. Tests are heaven's way of preparing you for weight. Glory is heavy, and not every vessel can carry it. So God allows pressure not to crush, but to strengthen. You were being stretched so your spirit could hold more of Him. What felt like breaking was actually expansion. Every loss carved room for greater filling. Every disappointment hollowed a space that grace would later occupy. There were moments you questioned if heaven saw your struggle. You cried out, "Why this, why me?" But what you didn't see was that the test itself was divine trust. God tested you because He believed in what He placed within you. He knew your yes would endure even when everything around you screamed no. And now, as the fire dies down, you stand different, softer in heart, stronger in spirit, quieter in pride, louder in faith. You've become the kind of soul that darkness fears, one that cannot be bribed, broken, or bent. The same flames that once threatened to destroy you have now become your light. The test before the triumph has passed, and what remains is authenticity. You no longer need to prove who you are. The fire already revealed it. You have been purified of pretense, stripped of fear, and anchored in trust. Understand this truth. Chosen one, every triumph that endures must first be tested by fire. You are not a survivor, you are refined gold, radiant with the evidence of endurance. The heavens know your name. The earth will soon see your rise, and the same God who allowed the fire is now preparing to unveil the treasure it revealed. So stand still. Let the ashes fall from your shoulders. The test has ended. The triumph has already begun. The enemy's last attempt always comes before the dawn. When heaven begins to move in your life, darkness doesn't retreat quietly, it roars. It throws illusions, distractions, and whispers of doubt. It reminds you of old wounds, hoping you'll reopen them. It sends familiar faces, familiar temptations, familiar fears, all designed to make you question what God has already confirmed. But you, chosen one, have already passed through the refining fire. You are not who you once were. The tricks that once trapped you no longer hold power. The enemy came one last time, not because you were weak, but because he knew his time was up. His final attempt is always desperation disguised as opportunity. The Apostle Paul wrote in the letter to the Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 11, "Put on the full armor of God, so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes." You have done just that. You have put on truth like a belt, righteousness like armor, and faith like a shield. You've learned to stand still when fear shouts, and to stay silent when chaos begs for reaction. This is what victory looks like, not in loudness, but in unwavering peace. When the enemy came to remind you of your past, heaven reminded him of his future. You stood tall not by strength alone, but by grace that cannot be shaken. Every whisper of condemnation met the louder voice of mercy. You no longer fight for identity. You fight from it. Understand this, the final temptation is rarely about sin, it's about surrender. The enemy tries to convince you that obedience is too costly, that faith is too fragile, that waiting is too long. He wants to make you trade destiny for comfort, calling for compromise dressed as convenience. But you said no. You refused to sell your crown for temporary relief. And in that no, all of heaven shouted yes. Angels drew their swords not to fight, but to celebrate. Because once a soul chooses obedience over compromise, darkness loses jurisdiction. You have crossed the invisible line between testing and triumph. Now peace surrounds you like morning light. The enemy's voice grows quieter, not because he has stopped speaking, but because your spirit no longer listens. You've learned to discern the difference between noise and guidance, between pressure and purpose. The darkness may still watch, but it cannot touch. Its power ended the moment your obedience became consistent. The chains that once bound you have turned into testimonies. The very weapons meant to wound you now serve as proof of your endurance. Chosen one, never forget the enemy does not attack the lost. He attacks the aligned. His resistance is confirmation that you are moving in divine direction. When opposition rises, it is heaven's way of saying, keep walking, you're close. And if this truth resonates within you, if you know you faced your own final temptation and refused to bow, then declare it boldly as a sign of victory. Type I stand firm. Type it not for others to see, but for heaven to record. It is your written decree that you will not turn back. Not after coming this far. Your stance is your sermon. Your endurance is your worship. You have outlasted the storm, and that is why the enemy's final attempt has failed. Heaven's celebration unfolds. Chosen one. There are no parades like the ones on earth. No fireworks bursting across a dark sky, but light dances through eternity in your name. The sound of rejoicing isn't a trumpet or a drum. It's a harmony made from your obedience. The angels who once wept for your weariness now sing for your awakening. And their song has one message woven through every note you did not give up. You see, heaven celebrates differently. It doesn't applaud achievements or possessions, it celebrates surrender. It rejoices when a soul chooses alignment over ambition, when love triumphs over fear. And in your obedience, heaven found both melody and movement. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, chapter 15, verse 58, "Therefore, my beloved brethren, be steadfast, immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, knowing that your labor in the Lord is not in vain." Not in vain, that's the promise. Every unseen act of obedience, every quiet prayer whispered in exhaustion, every tear of trust, not one of them was wasted. They were all seeds planted in heaven's soil. And now the garden of your destiny begins to bloom. But this celebration is not just about you. It's about what flows through you. You've become a conduit of light, a living river through which the joy of heaven spills onto the earth. Every word you speak, every act of kindness, every moment of faith ripples outward, touching lives you'll never meet. And this, beloved, is where your heart's generosity becomes part of heaven's music. You see, when you like, share, and subscribe, you aren't clicking buttons, you are opening gates. Each action is a candle placed on the altar of digital space, pushing back the shadows one spark at a time. When you share this message, you are whispering hope into the timeline of someone who has forgotten that heaven still sees them. Think of your support like light spilling from one lantern to another. One heart illuminates the next, until what was once a dark valley becomes a trail of glowing embers. You don't force the light, you simply pass it on. And if your spirit feels stirred to donate, let it be like pouring oil into the lamp that keeps this flame alive. It's not about obligation, it's about overflow. The same way the widow poured out her last jar of oil and watched it multiply. Every gift given in love becomes part of a miracle greater than itself. No one is asked, only invited. You give not to earn favor, but to reflect it. Because giving is worship in motion, it's gratitude made visible. When you sow into light, heaven multiplies that light back into your own story in ways unseen but deeply felt. So let your actions be love's language, like because you agree with the truth. Share because someone else needs the reminder. Subscribe because you want to keep walking in step with this growing movement of surrendered hearts. And if you choose to donate, do it as an artist would paint, freely, joyfully, with the belief that beauty deserves to be sustained. Heaven's celebration doesn't end with music. It continues through movement, through hearts that respond, through lives that give back, through voices that keep echoing the message that obedience is worth everything. And as you listen to this, remember, heaven isn't just watching you anymore. Heaven is walking with you. Every act of love, no matter how small, joins the chorus that began the day you said yes. Together, we keep the sound alive, not by force, but by freedom. Because true giving, true sharing, true love, they are never demanded, they are chosen. And heaven celebrates every choice made from a willing heart, the crown of obedience. It is not made of gold or jewels, but of unseen light. Heaven forges it not from success, but from surrender. You wear it now, though you may not feel its weight. It sits upon your spirit like morning light upon still water, gentle, radiant, unassuming, yet powerful beyond measure. When heaven places such a crown, it does so not as reward, but as recognition. This is the mark of those who have passed through the wilderness and did not curse it, who faced silence and did not turn away. Your obedience became a fragrance that rose before the throne, and from it, the Father fashioned something eternal, a crown that cannot fade, as Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Revelation, chapter 3, verse 11. Hold fast to what you have, that no one may take your crown. This crown is not visible to the world, but the atmosphere around you knows it. Darkness recognizes it. It's why resistance comes when you rise, why warfare intensifies when you step forward, because obedience carries authority. You don't need to announce it. Heaven already has. There's a kind of strength that doesn't shout, it simply is. It doesn't seek validation because it is rooted in revelation. That's what obedience does. It grounds you in divine certainty. You stop searching for approval because you've already been affirmed by heaven. The applause of angels is enough. This crown is not easily earned because it cannot be earned at all. It is given freely to those who yield completely. You don't work for it, you walk into it. It forms not in moments of glory, but in hidden seasons of faithfulness, when you chose kindness over bitterness, patience over reaction, forgiveness over vengeance. Every unseen choice became a thread woven into your crown, and though invisible, it changes everything. You begin to speak differently, not from pride, but from peace. You see differently, not through fear, but through faith. The crown alters your posture, your presence, your perception. You no longer fight to be seen, because you know you are already known. There were times you wondered if obedience was worth the cost. You watched others take shortcuts and seemed to prosper. Yet now you see what they cannot, that obedience builds what shortcuts cannot sustain. You chose the longer road, the narrower path, but it led to permanence. The temporary pleasures that once tempted you now appear pale beside the eternal weight of His glory resting on you. Your crown will not fade because it was forged in fire. Its radiance is not of this world. It carries the reflection of every time you chose Him. When you cried but still believed. When you broke but still obeyed. When you doubted but still stayed. Heaven remembers those moments and calls them holy. Beloved, this crown is not just a symbol of victory, it's a signal of purpose. It marks you as one who can now carry the authority of heaven on earth, not for dominance, but for deliverance. You carry peace into chaos, light into darkness, and truth into confusion. You are now both royalty and servant, crowned not to rule over people, but to serve them with the strength of divine love. Every step you take from here carries the echo of heaven's affirmation. This one obeyed. This one endured. This one is mine. And though others may not see your crown, creation itself bows in recognition. Because when a soul walks crowned in obedience, the world around it begins to change. Prophetic confirmation, that's what follows obedience. When heaven moves, the earth begins to echo it. You start to see alignment where confusion once ruled, clarity where uncertainty once lingered. It's as if invisible threads begin weaving your steps into a pattern you could never have imagined. Suddenly, what once felt delayed starts to unfold with divine precision. The signs are everywhere, though subtle. Doors that were sealed without reason begin to open effortlessly. Conversations happen at just the right time. Peace replaces panic. The same moments that once drained you now strengthen you. This is what happens when heaven confirms, when the divine blueprint begins to manifest in real time, as was spoken through the prophet Habakkuk. Chapter 2, verse 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not delay. Heaven's timing never fails. It only waits until you are ready. When you surrendered, time itself began to obey. The things that once seemed to resist you were not rejection, they were restraint, keeping you safe until the right moment arrived. Now that you walk in alignment, every second feels orchestrated. Divine timing has become your rhythm. Prophetic confirmation is not just in what you see, but in what you feel. You begin to notice peace in places that once brought anxiety. You find yourself drawn to new paths without knowing why, only to realize later that they were divine setups. Every confirmation is heaven's whisper. Yes, this is the way, walk in it. Sometimes it's a dream that lingers with clarity. Sometimes it's a phrase repeated through different voices. Sometimes it's simply stillness, that unshakable knowing that God has already gone ahead of you. These confirmations are heaven's way of saying, I meant what I said. Do you remember the moments you doubted, the times you thought you misheard, misstepped, misunderstood? Yet here you stand, watching the very things you once prayed for start to take shape. That's the beauty of prophetic confirmation. It not only proves the promise, it redeems the waiting. The Lord is weaving your story like a tapestry. You see the knots and loose ends, but from heaven's side, it's a masterpiece. Every thread, every pause, every delay has purpose. When all the colors come together, you'll understand that even the dark shades were necessary to make the light shine brighter. Now, beloved chosen one, your season of guessing has ended. You don't have to chase signs anymore, they follow you. Wherever you go, heaven leaves a trail of confirmation, divine fingerprints proving that your obedience was not in vain. So when the next sign appears, when peace floods your heart, or an opportunity comes knocking, don't question it. Receive it. You have stepped into the flow where miracles feel natural, and divine order becomes your new normal. And if your spirit recognizes this, if you feel that something in your life has just been divinely confirmed, then mark this moment in agreement. Type the number 4404 below. It is the number of foundation, the symbol of divine order, the reminder that heaven is not late, it's precise. Let this be your declaration: I am aligned, I am confirmed, I am established. Because when heaven confirms, nothing can contradict. The weight of glory rests differently than any burden you've ever known. It does not crush, it calls. It does not demand, it dwells. When you finally walked in His will, heaven entrusted you with more than blessing, it entrusted you with authority. And with that authority came the unmistakable presence of glory. You feel it sometimes, don't you? That stillness that settles over your spirit, that quiet awareness that something greater than you is moving through you. It's not pride, and it's not emotion. It's the residue of divine presence. You've become a carrier of what others only talk about. The presence that once visited you now abides in you. The Apostle Paul wrote in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 7. But we have this treasure in earthen vessels, that the excellence of the power may be of God and not of us. That treasure is glory, the very essence of heaven living within a human heart. And it rests upon you because your obedience created space for it. Glory cannot dwell where pride rules, nor can it rest where control remains. It needs surrender, and you have given that. Now the atmosphere around you recognizes it. The weight of glory is not something you can manufacture. It descends. It is heavy yet freeing, fierce yet gentle. It transforms your perspective, your speech, your very presence. You begin to understand silence as a language, humility as strength, stillness as warfare. You move slower but with purpose. Speak less, but with power. You no longer strive to be seen, for the light of His glory already reveals you. This is the mystery that a mortal frame can carry immortal fire. And yet, you do. That is why the darkness grows cautious when you enter a room. It is not your words that command it, but the authority of the one who sent you. You walk under divine covering now, a moving tabernacle of His will. There will be moments when the glory feels weighty, even overwhelming. You may feel stretched, misunderstood, or set apart. That is the nature of carrying divine presence. It isolates you so it can illuminate you. Those who carry glory cannot blend in because light cannot hide within shadow. Remember, glory is both gift and responsibility. It requires stewardship, not perfection, but awareness. You don't protect glory by hiding it, you protect it by honoring it. Every time you choose purity over compromise, gratitude over entitlement, reverence over routine, you honor the weight you carry. There is also tenderness in this weight. The closer you walk with God, the more your heart softens. You begin to feel what heaven feels, see what heaven sees. Compassion deepens, judgment fades, love becomes instinct. You realize that the authority you carry is not for domination, but for deliverance. You are not simply a believer anymore. You are a bearer. Heaven trusts you with influence not because you demanded it, but because you could carry it without breaking. The anointing that rests on you is not ornamental, it is functional. It flows through your obedience like water through a channel, bringing life wherever it touches. This is the weight of glory, not a trophy, but a task. It is the sacred balance of power and humility, of fire and gentleness, of strength clothed in surrender. You walk differently now because heaven walks with you. And though the world may never see the crown or feel the fire, creation itself knows another vessel of glory has been awakened. The ripple in the earth has begun. When one soul fully aligns with heaven, creation responds. What you carry does not stay contained, it expands, touching places and people you may never meet. The moment you stepped into obedience, a vibration moved through the spiritual atmosphere, awakening hearts that had grown cold and dry. You see, every act of surrender carries a sound. It is not a noise the ear can catch, but a resonance that creation itself recognizes. Trees, oceans, winds, all of them sense alignment, because they were made to respond to divine order. When your heart came into rhythm with heaven, the earth exhaled relief. You became harmony where there once was dissonance. Paul wrote to the Romans, chapter 8, verse 19. For the creation waits in eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed. Creation has been waiting for voices like yours, voices not of complaint, but of command. Hearts not of pride, but of purity. The ground beneath you remembers Eden, the time when man and heaven walked in perfect union. And now, through your obedience, that memory stirs again. The earth knows when a child of God is awake. You are not merely walking through the world, you are influencing it. Every step carries weight, every word carries atmosphere. When you speak peace, the air softens. When you forgive, the unseen chains in others begin to weaken. When you pray, entire spaces shift. While it may feel subtle, but heaven measures impact differently. The ripple begins in silence, like a single drop falling into still water. But that drop travels far beyond the point of impact. So it is with your obedience. What started as a personal surrender has become a public revival. Your transformation is the seed of someone else's breakthrough. There are hearts that will awaken simply by watching you endure with grace. There are lives that will be redirected because of the light you now carry. Even when you are unaware, your presence pushes back darkness. You may never hear their names, but heaven will show you one day faces that found hope because you stayed faithful. This is how the kingdom spreads, not always through sermons, but through lives that preach without words. The ripple of one obedient soul can reach generations yet unborn. What began as your surrender will outlive your lifetime. The choices you make now are writing the spiritual landscape of tomorrow. Sometimes the ripple brings resistance. The enemy trembles when the earth shifts toward divine order. But resistance only proves movement. The greater the wave, the stronger the wind that tries to stop it. Yet heaven always outruns hell. The light you carry cannot be drowned, it only multiplies when challenged. Your life is now a signal, a lighthouse glowing over dark waters, guiding others home. And though you may not see the full expanse of your influence, the ripple continues. It moves through the unseen, touching hearts that need courage, awakening souls that forgot how to hope. Beloved, never underestimate the power of one life in full alignment with God. Revival doesn't begin in crowds. It begins in one heart that says, "Here I am, Lord," and that heart is yours. The earth is shifting, the atmosphere is changing, and somewhere, even now, another soul is stirring because you said yes. The ripple has only just begun. Heaven calls for witnesses now. The light that began in your secret place has reached its appointed moment. It can no longer be hidden. The story written in silence is ready to be seen, and the world needs to hear what obedience sounds like when it breathes. You have become a living testimony of divine redemption, not a sermon made of words, but of life. When heaven looks upon you, it sees evidence, the fruit of trust, the proof of surrender. And now, heaven whispers, let others see. Because testimony is not about attention, it's about invitation. It says to the world, what God did for me, He can do for you too. The apostle wrote in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 16, "Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven." You are that light now. But light does not shout, it simply shines. It doesn't force anyone to look. It just burns bright enough that no one can ignore it. And that's how heaven spreads through lives that quietly radiate love until others begin to wonder where the glow comes from. Beloved, think of this message like a candle passed into your hands. It's warm, fragile, and sacred. And when you choose to like, share, comment, subscribe, or even donate, you're not promoting a message, you're protecting a flame. Each action is like shielding that candle from the wind so that its light can travel farther into the night. When you like, it's as if you whisper, "I see the light." When you share, it's like placing another candle into someone else's palm, giving them what once gave you hope. When you comment, your words become sparks that remind others they're not alone. And when you subscribe, it's like deciding to walk beside the fire instead of watching from afar, a silent vow to keep growing in the same light that found you. And should your heart ever feel moved to donate, let it be as natural as rain watering the ground that nourished you. You are not buying favor or paying for miracles, you are tending to the soil where hope grows. Every drop of generosity, no matter how small, turns into a ripple that reaches further than you imagine. Picture this: a field at dawn. Thousands of tiny lights flicker across the horizon, each one a soul awakened by truth, each one shining because another dared to keep their flame alive. That's what your actions do. Every simple gesture, your engagement, your kindness, your support becomes part of that field of light stretching across the earth. Heaven calls for witnesses, not spectators. It invites hearts that have been touched to touch others in turn. So whatever you do next, whether you speak, share, pray, give, or simply reflect, let it come from love. Because love, freely given, becomes the purest testimony of all. You are not pressured to act. You are invited to continue the story. And the beauty of this divine exchange is that every choice made in freedom carries eternal fragrance. So hold your light gently. Chosen one, let it move as it must, through clicks, through words, through giving, through presence. Every act you take, when done in love, becomes worship. Every time you lift this flame higher, heaven watches with joy, whispering, "The fire still burns. The movement has already begun, and you, radiant one, are part of its glow." The Father's whisper of pride fills the heavens now. It is not loud like thunder, nor blazing like fire. It is deep, gentle, and endless. It moves through eternity like a melody that never fades. He speaks your name with joy, not as a distant king, but as a loving father, proud of his child who finally walked in truth. You may not hear the words with your ears, but your spirit knows. That sudden peace that settles without reason, that is his whisper. The warmth that comes in quiet moments when you think of how far you've come, that is his voice saying, "I am pleased." The apostle wrote in the Gospel of Matthew chapter 3, verse 17, "And a voice from heaven said, 'This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased.'" Though those words were once spoken over Jesus, they echo again over you. Not because you are flawless, but because you chose faithfulness. Heaven's pride is not reserved for the perfect. It belongs to the obedient. You stood when you could have run. You trusted when logic told you to give up. You held fast when comfort called you backward. Now the Father smiles not because you achieved, but because you believed. His pride is not like the pride of men, inflated by ego or performance. It is holy, tender, pure, born from the joy of a parent who sees their child finally walk in the purpose they were created for. When heaven looks at you now, it sees reflection, the image of obedience, the likeness of love. The glory that rests on you is proof of relationship restored. The Father no longer sees your past. He sees His own Spirit alive in you. You are not just loved, you are trusted. Heaven doesn't entrust its mysteries to the careless, but to those who have proven they can carry them with humility. You have become a keeper of divine things, the kind of soul who can walk among storms without losing peace, who can carry revelation without needing recognition. This is the moment when favor becomes inheritance, when what was once fought for is now simply lived in. You no longer need to reach for affirmation, you dwell in it. You have become the evidence that obedience restores relationship not just between heaven and man, but between creation and its creator. There is a sacred calm over your life now, as if the universe itself exhales in agreement. You've stepped beyond striving into rest, not inactivity, but harmony. The Father no longer watches you from afar. He walks beside you, delighting in your company. His whisper follows you in everything you do. You are mine, and I am proud of you. That is what divine approval feels like, not applause, but peace. It does not rush you. It roots you. It doesn't inflate, it anchors. When God is pleased, you stop performing. You start becoming. You will still face days of testing, moments of silence, and nights of longing. But even then, His pride will not diminish. Because His pleasure in you is not tied to perfection, it flows from relationship. And so heaven speaks your name again, not as a reminder of where you've been, but as a declaration of who you've become. The Father says it with pride, with joy, with everlasting love. This one chose me freely, and I am well pleased. The eternal celebration has no end. It continues steady and radiant, like a song that time itself cannot silence. All of heaven rejoices not because the story is over, but because it has only just begun. You, beloved chosen one, have stepped into a life that will echo through eternity, a life lived in His will. Heaven's joy is not momentary. It's not like the fleeting applause of men or the temporary excitement of victory. It is an everlasting current of light, flowing from the heart of the Father, moving through the angels, and circling back to every obedient soul. That joy surrounds you now. It lingers in the air when you pray, moves through your steps when you walk, and hums softly in your spirit when you rest. The voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 33, verse 14. My presence shall go with you, and I will give you rest. That is the promise fulfilled in you. Rest is not idleness, it is assurance. It's the knowing that no matter what comes next, you are where you are meant to be. The war within has ended, peace has taken its rightful place. You are not striving to earn God's love anymore, you are living from it. In this eternal celebration, there is a deep stillness. Heaven doesn't celebrate with noise alone, it celebrates through harmony. Every angelic sound, every flicker of divine light moves in rhythm with your obedience. The celebration continues each time you wake with gratitude, each time you forgive quickly, each time you choose peace instead of fear. These are the daily dances of eternity worship written into the rhythm of your life. You have become an altar in motion, a living testament of reconciliation between heaven and earth. Through you, others will remember what it means to walk with God, not as servants trembling before power, but as children embraced by love. The presence that once felt distant now walks within you, guiding, comforting, reminding you that the celebration is not something you visit, it's something you carry. You are now the music that heaven hears. Your voice, your kindness, Your obedience they blend with eternity's chorus. The same angels that rejoiced over your surrender now move beside you as companions in purpose. Heaven's joy does not fade because you have become its living expression. Everywhere you go, traces of glory remain. Peace follows you like fragrance. Hope stirs wherever you stand. The weight you once carried has turned into lightness, the kind only heaven can give. You have walked through fire and found it could not consume you. You have journeyed through silence and discovered that heaven was speaking all along. And now, you live in the unbroken yes, the sacred agreement between a soul and its maker. Heaven calls you not a survivor, but a reflection. You mirror the faithfulness of God back to creation. Every sunrise becomes a reminder that His promises are still unfolding through you. This is eternity's secret. Heaven's greatest celebration is not thunder, but continuity, obedience sustained, faith alive, love unending. You are the continuation of heaven's joy on earth, the proof that God still walks among His people. The angels still sing, not because of one victory, but because your yes has become a lifelong anthem. And in that song, creation joins, whispering the truth that now defines you. The will of God and the heart of His child have become one. Beloved chosen one, if these words have found a home in your heart, let them not fade like echoes after a song. Let them live through action, through love, through light. What began as a whisper between heaven and your soul can now ripple outward into lives still waiting to awaken. Think of this message as a flame resting in your hands, gentle, sacred, alive. When you like, it's as if you lift that flame a little higher, letting its warmth reach another heart. When you share, you send sparks into the distance, guiding someone lost in the dark to a light they didn't know still burned. When you comment, your words become living embers, proof that the fire did not pass you by. Every amen, every I understand, every heart you leave below becomes a spark that tells heaven, the flame is still alive in me. And when you subscribe, you do more than stay connected, you walk alongside this growing constellation of awakened souls. Each one carries light, and together, we form a galaxy of obedience and hope that outshines every shadow. If your spirit ever feels led to donate, let it flow like water returning to the source. Not as payment, but as participation, the way a drop joins the river, the way gratitude becomes motion. Every offering, no matter how small, becomes part of heaven's echo on earth. You are under no pressure, only invitation. Give, speak, act, and share as freely as you have been loved, because every simple gesture of faith becomes eternal when done from the heart. So go now, flame bearer, carry what you've received. Keep the light moving through your touch, your words, your presence. The world grows brighter each time you do.